You dialed into the right place.
Let's go!
Now your host, Ryan Hensley.
What's going down, everybody? It's Super Bowl week. I got my guy Eric Crocker in the building, along with my man Twin Empire. We're going to be talking about the 49ers. It's Super Bowl week, man. The Niners are in Vegas. Croc just got back from Vegas, man, but it's getting real right now. Croc, how you doing, man? How was your time in Vegas, brother?
It was cool. I got banged on the blackjack table. They hit me pretty good. But as far as what I was out there to do, which was the coach, and we took our kids out there from all over the 209 to Pittsburgh, Antioch. We got kids out, coming from even Frisco. So it was good, man. We competed, played against some very, very talented teams, made it really far in the top 8 out of 50 teams. So it was good, man. It was. Oh, and we went to UNLV, so I got to see all the stuff that they're doing, setting aside for the 49ers. They actually have turf practice fields, and they covered up all their turf practice fields with actual sodded grass, specifically for the 49ers. But yeah, we went to UNLV. All our kids got to meet the coaches, interact. We got to network with them, exchange numbers, things like that. But it was cool, man. It was a good Vegas visit outside of losing a decent amount of money.
That's dope. So yeah, the Niners are practicing UNLV. I think the Chiefs are using the Raiders stuff. Yeah, which is funny. Division rival. Twin, how was your weekend, bro?
Man, it was fun. I was with my little ones this weekend, so we just doing a lot of activities. You know how it is when you're in that daddy role. So had my kids do some construction around the house. Gave them a power driver, a tool, and have them fixing the hole in the wall. So it was fun. They thought it was exciting. You know what I mean? But I was working them at the same time.
I feel it, man. But hey, next weekend we're gonna be busy. We got the Super Bowl to watch. I'm looking forward to it. It's crazy, man. The Niners are out there. It's this week, man. It's happening. So here's my question for you. My question is a general question. Just how you feeling? How you feeling going into this Niner game, Croc? Like, how do you feel going into the Super Bowl right now? How you feeling about the Niners and the odds? Just how are you feeling, man?
I feel very confident. I'd say, out of a lot of the postseason runs, it feels like this is the most complete offense that the 49ers have had. And I know a lot of people are looking at the defense. It has not been playing as well. A little up and down throughout the year. I thought at times it was like, oh, this is a good defense. Then other times it's like, it's been a little up and down. But, I think when it comes to winning a Super Bowl, it's really more about not just defense, but the team that can make the plays when it's needed to be made to be able to put more points on the board. And we saw in 2019, no matter how good the 49ers defense was that year, the offense wasn't quite good enough. So you got to put up points, and I think this 49ers team is definitely suited to do that. So gives me a different level of confidence with their ability to pull out this victory. The only thing is you got the boogeyman on the other side who, no matter the circumstances, no matter what happens, he's kind of like never out of it. So as far as being confident, this is as confident as probably I'll ever be heading into a game, into a Super Bowl game against the Chiefs.
Yeah, man. I guess I'll say my take to the end. But Twin, how you feeling, brother? How you feeling about this game coming up, Super Bowl and all that good stuff?
Man, I'm excited. You know what I mean? I think it's kind of cool that we're playing against the Chiefs again. 2019 is almost like I say, it's like deja vu almost. Same presidents are going at it with Joe Biden and Donald Trump. It's like a replay, you know what I'm saying, of what we just saw years ago. So I'm just excited, especially for the new guys who hadn't necessarily gone through this process before, because there's only 11 players left on their team from, the previous Super Bowl team. And so to know that all these guys that are experiencing this for the first time is so cool, and also well deserving as well. So, man, I'm excited for the fellas to go out there, man, to see that all that hard work that they've been doing over the last couple of years, getting so close, but yet still missing it just by a hair of the chin, man. So I'm just excited for them boys,
Yeah, man, I'm excited too, brother. I feel like the 49ers got this one, man. I don't know, something about the vibe all year long. So I'm feeling good, brother. I'm nervous. I'm feeling nervous. I'm gonna be real. Like, I don't want to. I feel like I'm playing in the game, but I don't.
What you nervous about though? Like what part of the game? Like just the thought of it. What makes you nervous?
Because all right, so growing up, I remember 3 Super Bowl victories. We have 5 undefeated Super Bowl appearances, 5-0. My kids got to see 2012, see us lose. Got to see us lose. last time we played the Chiefs. I'm not trying. I want my kids to see the Niners win the Super Bowl, man. And so I'm just nervous because this team is hella good. The Chiefs, they're no joke. And I've been saying all postseason, or don't bet against Patrick Mahomes. That cat makes me nervous. So does Andy Reid. So that's what makes me nervous. I'm hopeful the Niners pull this off, and I think they will. I'm going to give my prediction. But yeah, I mean, I'd be lying if I said I wasn't a little nervous about this Chiefs team with Mahomes and Andy Reid. You're not nervous?
Do you feel like they kind of have this chokehold over the 49ers? I know it's different teams from year to year, but I don't know if it's Andy Reid, how he calls plays, how he identifies what the 49ers want to do with their scheme. But it feels like in every game that they've played so far, the Chiefs have just figured out either a way to squeak out that one close win or just blow us out, and more blowouts than not. So do you think, and maybe I ask you, Twin, do you think that there's some kind of mojo that Andy Reid is sprinkling over his team that gets them up and they just can combat whatever it is that makes the 49ers good?
If you ask me, I think for me, it will be the last couple of weeks. We know we started off this season hot. We had like this run of just really good offense, really good defense, right? But if we've been honest, our last two games, that first half has been a head scratcher. We be like, golly, on paper, we're looking at our team like we got all these wonderful players on the offense and defensive end, but a young up-and-coming star team like Green Bay come in there, man, and you're like, oh, goodness, man. We had a couple weeks of a break. We saw what they just did to Dallas. So we're like, okay, well, maybe we'll be ready. We're on high alert, you know what I'm saying? Because it's not like they're going to surprise us. And then we're playing at home. We fought all this time for home field advantage, and then we had that slow start. And we was like, oh, my goodness, come on now. Eventually win. All right, next week, play against the Lions. Similar situations, fall back even farther behind. And so, you think in your mind, I know this squad has this offense, has this defense. We should be these teams that we beat. Nobody was necessarily saying throughout the whole year, hey, watch out for Green Bay. But they were playing good football at the end of the year. Same thing with the Lions. And so, for me, it's like you coming in and seeing a team like Kansas City Chiefs who didn't necessarily have the best year far as what they're usually, what they're used to doing. But then they come in and they play real good football against the other two teams on the AFC. And so for me, it's just like, okay, my guys, this is not the team for us to come, and start playing that, start off the gates playing kind of pedestrian and not having that energy that you need to because it's a Super Bowl. So if I'm nervous anywhere, it's that I see that no matter what they've gone through during this time of the year, they seem more ready when the games start to go out there and play football compared to us. So I just hope we saved our best game. I mean, we better have saved our best start game coming up this week, if that makes sense to you guys.
Yeah, no, I feel it. To answer your question, Crock, and we'll talk about. I got Andy Reid and Kyle as a topic, but yeah, I mean they're 3-0 against Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes are 3-0 against Kyle Shanahan. Now this is the first time Brock has really played him. I mean, he played him last year for when he came in, but the game was over at that point. So this, there's some differences here between these teams than the last times we played them. Their defense is actually better, which makes it a little scarier to me. But we got Brock, we got CMC, so we got some different pieces as well. On paper, this 49ers team is better than any team in the NFL. So if they show up and play their best ball to their fullest potential, they should be able to win this game. The question is, will they do that? Will they wait too long to get started like they have been in these last couple of weeks? So really, they just need to get started quick. That's my thing. And Damon Dickerson hits us with a $2 super chat, says, let's go faithful, like and subscribe. Also wants to know what the most critical element of this game is. Croc, you want to answer?
I definitely say stop Mahomes. I know we always think about just the special plays he can, make with his arm and things like that. But I think it's his legs that kind of breaks the camel's back a little bit, right? Think back to even last game, 49ers versus Detroit Lions. Like, what really broke Detroit Lions? It was Purdy making plays with his legs. And Mahomes is capable of doing those same things, ripping off that big run. If you go back to the Super Bowl last year, and I kind of just rewatched it, so a lot of the game is fresh in my mind. Mahomes didn't have a huge game through the air. I think he threw 480 passing yards. Part of that is they had a defensive touchdown, they had a punt return, they had some other things go their way, but not a huge game through the air. But what really, at the end of the game, when it mattered most, really broke the Philadelphia Eagles, aside from a flag or whatever, but It was Mahomes taking off and ripping off a long run with his legs. I think when it comes to figuring out ways to win, he tries to do that. You can't let him do that with his legs. It's dangerous to try to make him beat him with his arm, but okay, if he does that, whatever. But his legs, you can't let that be the reason why you lose.
Yeah, I think that's the most critical part of this game to me is really Kyle just not losing his focus, right? Like to me, it seems like obviously in the Super Bowl we had the lead with like 7 minutes left to go against the Chiefs, and he kind of dropped the ball. I feel like the defense, you can blame the defense too, but I feel like we've seen that twice from Kyle. We saw it in the Falcons Super Bowl when he was offensive coordinator. We saw it against the Chiefs where he blew leads at the end of the game. And to me, that's going to be crucial. Starting fast, finishing strong, obviously big things. What's crucial? What's critical for you, Twin?
I think Kyle's mentality. I think this is the opportunity to, like, whatever you had in your playbook, whatever little thing underneath your pillow that you have been waiting to use, the time is now. I like to say empty the whole clip, Kyle. Be confident in your squad. You know what I mean? You have the guys everywhere. Just trust and believe that not only do you have the right plays, but then you have just the players to go out there and just be better. You know what I mean? And sometimes in a game like this, I think Crock was just mentioning the best player just got to be the best player. Sometimes it's like in basketball. Hey, man, just give me the ball, move out the way, and let me go get a bucket. And I believe he has a plethora of guys on his squad to say, hey, Kyle, this dude on the other side of me can't stop me. Yeah. Give me the rock. Let me work. We saw that with Cooper Kupp a couple years ago. It got to a point in that fourth quarter where, hey, you just saw McVay was like, hey, Cooper, you finna get this ball like for the whole goddamn fourth quarter, and we go ride your back. You know what I mean? Because we've gotten here. You was a triple crown winner because of what you've done, and I'm going to force feed you because I just think you're better than anybody out there. And sometimes you have to do it, and I think that's what Andy Reid tells Mahomes. At the end of the day, man, I think you're the best player out here. I'm going to trust the fact that you can go out here and get it done because there's certain things that you do above my playbook. Far as just what it is that you have inside of you and that your talents do have. And so as Kyle continues to grow in coaching, I believe that's something he allowed Brock to do that last game. That's why it was so profound. It was like, okay, Brock went outside of what Kyle was kind of restraining him to do. And then he was like, hey, Kyle, I'm finna cook real fast. And you look like, okay, Brock. And then we went and got that victory. So, hey, man, let that pit bull off the leash, and go out there and be that dog.
Yeah, we talked about a little bit about Eric or Croc asked the question like, do the Chiefs just have a stronghold over the 49ers? And I was looking at Kyle versus Andy the last three meetings, or the only three meetings where Kyle was head coach of the 49ers. Andy Reid is 3-0, or the Chiefs are 3-0 against the 49ers with a point differential of 113-70. They've won 2 games by 11 and 1 game by 20 over the Niners. So I'm curious, man, I want to ask the question back to you that you asked, man, like, do you think Andy Reid has that stronghold over Kyle, man? Is he in his head, or do you think Kyle can overcome that?
One thing you kind of left out a little bit, you talked about, 11-point victory. That game that Jimmy Garoppolo tore his ACL, if you guys remember, 49ers down 35-0. So whatever Andy Reid dialed up pregame to identify what the 49ers do well, what they don't do, and et cetera. And it's completely different 49ers team. I understand that. But it just shows to the detail of understanding exactly how to combat what they do. It was 35-0. Obviously, the 49ers started to come back later in that game. But I think I view it almost like what Kyle Shanahan had been to McVay for a while. Right, like just continuing to beat them. And 49ers have won 6 straight regular season games over them, or 8 straight regular season games. And then it just took that one game for some fortunate bounces for the Rams to go their way in the NFC Championship game. A drop pick, a couple missed throws for Jimmy Garoppolo. And all of a sudden, you're able to kind of get that monkey off of your back and beat that team that had kind of owned you a little bit as of late. So I think for 49ers and Kyle Shanahan, it's on them now to do that same thing to Kansas City, a team that has they haven't had as many opportunities, but they've kind of been able to just figure it out and come out on top 3 straight times and one in the biggest moment. So there is something that Andy has over Kyle right now. And I do believe that it's on Kyle to really figure out how to counteract that as opposed to try to embrace it. You know what I'm saying? I think that's what Kyle did. I think he like goes out as a plan and is like, okay, let's see if this works against them, as opposed to saying, man, we're going to take it to these dudes, man. We're going to take it to them. We're going to take it to them. We're going to beat them. This is how we're going to do it. We're going to go out. We're going to dominate this way. So hopefully he goes with more of that mindset as opposed to just trying to see, oh, okay, let's see if this works. Or we want to come out. We want to do this thing. Man, take it to this team.
Yeah. I got some follow-ups on that too. Between what's your take on Kyle versus Andy, man?
I mean, I think Crockett said it all. Also, George Kittle said it a couple weeks ago, man. Hey, I just want you guys to run outside zone, man. Listen here. Like, George Kittle was just keeping it simple. Man, he was like, we got away from what we do very well, that we know that works. And sometimes at this level, just do what you know that works and be confident in that. And sometimes, again, like Kyle just have to get that monkey off his back, man, drop his nuts. Like my boy Croc said the other day, hey, you can't be you know what right now, Kyle. You know what I'm saying? It's time to listen here. This is not the time. I'm going to need you to go out here and you in Vegas, so I'm going to need you to act like you Lexington Steel or somebody, man, and go show what you got. You know what I mean? And
Kyle looked ready, man. I saw him, on the bus, arriving in Vegas, and he's hat backwards. Everybody looked in good spirits. I think Kyle, with everything that everybody says about him, he's extremely confident in his ability to coach and have his team ready. So I'm not as worried about it. It just has been a little weird that the walrus looking guy on the other side has just like took him to the woodshed and just spanked him a few times.
Yeah, man. And Kyle was crazy too when you watched back from the NFC Championship game. He told John Lynch, see you on the stage before the game. Is that new for Kyle? He's always been that like confident and cocky. I wonder, like that might seems a little new to me.
Now that's what they've been saying about him. Like nobody believes in themselves like more than Kyle believes in himself, his scheme, his players. And I think part of it though is he believes so much in himself. That's when it turns into kind of like that controlling guy that we've said, he has been. Yeah. But I think his confidence in himself and his abilities to pull out a win regardless, right? I mean, they've said that about the quarterback position. Like, well, Kyle doesn't need this superstar quarterback, and he doesn't feel like he needs it. I think there was a quote in an article years ago that said, the scheme makes the quarterback. The quarterback doesn't make the scheme. So when you talk about confidence in themselves, I think Kyle has always had that. He might just not be mic'd up for us to hear it all the time.
Yeah. Apparently, man, he went to the Lil Wayne concert, and next day you see him with his hat backwards. He's throwing up. He's feeling himself, man. Hopefully it's a good thing, brother. But what do the 49ers got to do, man? Must do this. 49ers must do this to win. Let's start with Twin. What must the 49ers do to pull this one off, man?
Keep your cool. That's one thing. If you look at that Ravens game, they lost their cool. They lost their temper, and they allowed some early penalties to kind of continue to let some drives go forward. And if you look at the score, they didn't score a lot as far as the Kansas City Chiefs. But when you do assist them, and then they do score on those plays where you could have had them punting the ball or having them in third and long situations, that's the wrong team to try to have those mental mistakes. So be a disciplined team. Don't allow penalties or dumb penalties at unopportune times to kill you, and turnovers. We cannot turn the ball over. You don't want to give Patrick Mahomes any other opportunity to go out there and get an extra series on you, because one, you don't want to play from behind, and secondarily, you don't want that guy to get in the rhythm like that as well. And thirdly, run the ball, man. Like, just establish that running game, and in doing that, I believe it's not about just running the ball. I think it's about the trenches. We look at every Super Bowl, you look in the middle and say, who won the trenches? And whoever usually win the battle of the trenches usually win the Super Bowl. And so I do believe running that ball will say, hey, I'm standing on Trent Williams. Like, listen here, my guy. I know you've been waiting this whole time. Hey, the time is now. You know what I'm saying? Establish that dominance. Establish how that left side is a side where you're going to be productive. Like, it's similar to the tush push, as somebody once said. And we're going to sit here and say, man, we finna let y'all know that we finna smash this ball down your face, and then let CMC be who he is, and then the rest is going to be history. So that's my 2 cents on that situation.
Croc, what must the Niners do, man? What must they do to win this game?
Definitely, man. Don't shoot yourselves in the foot. I think that's the only way the 49ers actually lose. They play well in spurts defensively. And I'd say even throughout the season, I'd say they play well more times than not. But the offense, when they don't turn the ball over multiple times, they win. So you look at this game coming up, I don't think it's any different. I think this 49ers team is really good. I think they are built to really move the ball a lot. I think they're going to be in scoring position a lot, but it's all going to be predicated on not turning the ball over. You go back to that Baltimore Ravens game, and that was the key thing. Imagine it. If somebody would have told you, like, hey, man, you're going to play Baltimore, number 1 seed in the AFC, but you're going to turn the ball over 3 times in the first half, you would think, man, this is a blowout. But no, they were down 4 points. So imagine if you don't throw that red zone interception and you get some points. What does this game start to look like? Because there's a swing there. Imagine if, you don't continue to turn the ball over in that game. So I'd say for the 49ers, more than anything, it's take care of the rock. And obviously Brock Purdy has a big hand in that. In games that he takes care of the rock, I don't think the 49ers have any issues. So I think that's going to be the biggest focal point. We know Kansas City Chiefs, they're going to play a lot of man. They're going to do some exotic blitzes. They're going to try to do things that make them uncomfortable. Fortunately for the 49ers, they have the best quarterback in the league in performance under pressure, in the sense of, pressure coming at him with blitzes and things like that, highest rated quarterback. So, I think that works in the 49ers hands, but I think for Brock to be that guy that we saw, you can't fall behind. Because once he falls behind, like if you fall behind and they're still pressuring him that way, that's why I think it might get a little weird for the 49ers.
Croc, you're a defensive player. You made it to the NFL for playing defense. You coach defense. How do you approach this team, man? Like, how do you approach the Chiefs defensively when they got Isaiah Pacheco running the ball, Travis Kelce just being unstoppable typically, and then Patrick Mahomes, one of the greatest quarterbacks of all time? What do you focus on? How do you stop that?
Oh, a couple things. I think first and foremost is trying to make the Kansas City Chiefs as one-dimensional as possible. Now, that's tough because they've been running the rock with Pacheco, whether he's getting 6 yards a carry or whether he's getting 3 yards a carry. Like, they are running the rock. They do get McKinnon back this week, but I don't think that he's going to be a big focal point of their offensive run game. They will throw to him out of backfield and whatnot. But for me, it's trying to make them as one-dimensional as possible. All right, not letting them rip off those big runs, because we saw against the Lions, once they were able to really run the ball, now they have everything, and the 49ers are completely off balance as a defense. You don't want to be in that situation. So first and foremost, take away the run. Then now, once you can try to take away the run, you want to really make things difficult on Patrick Mahomes to find Travis Kelce. Make the others beat you. Make the Kadarius Toney or the Richie James, Rashee Rice, make Valdez Scantling, make him get multiple catches. If those guys beat you, then okay, but you can't let Kelce go crazy. So what I do, I'd probably run a little bit more man. I don't think that their receivers outside of Kelce really threaten you a whole lot from a cornerback's perspective, right? Rashee Rice, really good receiver. He is good, and he's grown a whole lot throughout this year, and you see him continue to build that continuity with his quarterback. But I don't think from, like, if we're talking about just twitched up, can I cover this guy in man, I think the 49ers can do well with that. Matter of fact, I might have Mooney Ward just, hey, we're going to play a little bit more man. Follow him around. So we want to try to take him out, and we'll put, Ambry Thomas, Deommodore Lenoir on some of the other guys, and then I'm definitely going to bracket Travis Kelce. Like, I am not going to let Kelce beat us, because this is where he wins most. It's not even so much the pure just designed route. I mean, it's not just, Kelce runs a 10-yard out and boom, the ball is on him. More times than not, it's just Kelce kind of running to a soft spot in the zone, finding that spot, settling in it, and then Mahomes ad-libbing and then finding him and boom. And they'll kill you like that. Like, they'll do that all the way down the field. So if you put a bracket on them, that might help be able to kind of take away two-way goals on guys and find those open spots. And then, again, Mooney on another guy. And that's how I would do it. But one thing I've known about the 49ers, no matter how I think they should do it, they usually do the opposite. And they're not going to go man, and they're going to do a lot of zone. And hopefully it just works.
I mean, that's what they're known for, right? Zone. So, like, feels like going man would probably be a good thing. Switch it up a little bit on the Chiefs. And I agree with you, man. Like, stopping Kelce. Those are two things. Stop Pacheco, stop Kelce, and make those other guys beat you, and hope they drop balls like they were throughout the season.
Slow
I think,
down, Kelce. I'll say that.
yeah,
He's so talented, Hall of Fame tight end. I don't know if you can just stop him,
yeah,
but definitely try to minimize the big play impact. And then I don't know. I mean, he can give you run after catch. It's weird. He's not like hella fast, but he's so crafty with how he does it. So you have to minimize those things.
and man, that would be what, Warner on him.
I don't know. I don't know if it's Warren. I would think it would be maybe like a Logan Ryan or something like that.
Yeah,
But again, we're trying to bracket him. So you can have Logan Ryan more like, all right, if he comes out this way, I'm going to attach to him and run no matter where he goes. You got to have good eye discipline because the moment you look back, he's going to move slightly away from you and Mahomes going to find that spot. So have good eye discipline throughout the route. But if he goes the other way, then, maybe a safety can catch him from the opposite side. So I would try to do something like that.
yeah.
I don't think it would be Fred Warner or a
Fred.
linebacker to just play man coverage on him.
Yeah, man. This game's interesting as hell to me, man. I'm looking forward to. Hope they pull it off. By the way, man, windy as shit last night. I know this is off topic, but I saw the chat was talking about it. My power went out. Hella windy. My fence blew down. Croc, were you driving in that last night?
Yeah, we were coming back from Vegas, and we're in a Sprinter van. I got 12 kids with me, and a couple of coaches, and man, we could just feel it. One time, it almost moved me all the way across the lane. Man, I'm like, oh man, I started driving slow. I'm going like 60 miles an hour, trying to make sure everybody's safe. But we got back safe, and no kids were harmed on that trip.
Yeah, those vans in the wind are no joke, man. No joke. Twin, what must they do, man?
Man, I think if you look at the percentages, Pat only throws the ball to either, like he said, Kelce, Rice, and then Pacheco. Like, those are the three guys. Nobody else really get targets. Like, so his tendency is to go to those guys, and what you want to do is at least take away, or like they used to say, you want to contain Travis. You can't stop him, but you got to contain him. And his first and second reads, you want to make sure you slow those guys down. So I would say, hey, Kelce and Pacheco, if Rashidi Rice want to have the game of his life, I mean, okay then, you know what I mean? But long as you're not going to let Kelce or Pacheco beat you. You seen last year's Super Bowl, I mean, Pacheco was, I believe he was a rookie, you know what I mean? But he played like a goddamn 5-year vet. He ran the ball extremely hard. After first contact, he didn't go down. He got those nasty, like ugly Emmitt Smith yards where you hit him, then he'll get extra 2 or 3 yards. He always falls forward. And so with a running back like that, that's something that the coaches like to see. And so what you want to do is make sure you hit him, and then he goes the opposing way. You know what I mean? And I think if we're able to kind of stop them, tackle really well, no missed tackles, and get Dre Greenlaw to be a little bit free, allow him to kind of stick somebody, because you're going to need that enforcer. You don't want him to get a penalty, but you do want him out there hitting people, because I do believe he sets the tone for that defense. When he can go and have a good thump on somebody, I think everybody else like, all right, let's go out here and keep that same energy. And so get a good hit on one of those guys. And again, make sure Kelce don't get loose, and have Mahomes. And you got to touch with Mahomes a little bit. You can't just have him getting so comfortable back there, man, because if he's back there just having time, he don't have to really worry about anything. You don't want him that comfortable. You want to at least touch him, let him hit the ground, have him get the dirt off his helmet a couple times. And so you can sit there and say, okay, we want to get pressure up the middle, but we don't want him to get on the outside. So it's very important for Chase Young and Nick Bosa to keep that containment on the edges as well, because that's when he thrives. When he's able to go out there on them edges and he can still move around. And if you're not plastering those other wide receivers, we can get gashed, in that manner. So, again, make sure the first and second reads are kind of contained and don't necessarily have the freedom to roam around like that. And then when you get an opportunity to hit to hit Patrick Mahomes, hit him. You know what I mean? So, yeah.
I feel like the defensive line, I mean, the whole team's got to play well, but really it's on this defensive line. They've been kind of subpar the last couple of weeks in the playoffs, man. They need to step their game up. I really think that's the most important thing as far as stopping Pacheco, getting pressure on Patrick Mahomes, but keeping them contained. I feel like that's going to be really the key. Like Gammon Brown says, effort is non-negotiable. Croc, who worries you on this 49ers team and going into this game? Is there a weak point that worries you a little bit?
Probably the offensive line, man. And they've done enough. to kind of put things together and a little bit of patchwork. But I think they have a big hand in how this game turns out. Again, we continue to talk about defense. I'm throwing the defense out there. This is going to be about just who can score the most points in this game. Like, that's what it's going to come down to. I watched Super Bowl last year. Again, I just rewatched it. And the final score was like 35-38 or something like that. And that was a good defense Philly had. And a solid defense Kansas City, but it came down to who could score more points. I watched 49ers in 2019. And 49ers had a great defense that year. Somehow, some way, I don't even know how it happened, but they gave up 31. It's going to be about who can score more points. So if the 49ers are going to be that team that puts up more points than their opponent, I think it's going to come down to how well the offensive line performs. And as you know, that hasn't been the greatest spot for the 49ers. Purdy has played a lot under pressure. He's done very well, extremely well. But you would like him to be a little bit more comfortable and really get that run game going early on as well. So I think when we think about bad O-line, we think about just the pass game. But, I mean, I think, it's the run game too. You want them to be great in the run, great against the pass. I think if they do that, I don't think it matters what the 49ers defense does. I think the 49ers offense will do more than enough to be able to win this game.
Yeah, Chris Jones is a problem in the interior. So 49ers offensive line's got to make sure they're not getting pressure up the middle and stopping the run by penetrating through the middle, man. That's one of the big things that needs to happen in this game. What about you, Twin? Is there somebody you're concerned about on the 49ers?
I think you just said it. I mean, it's the Chris Jones, man, against that O-line, like y'all just mentioned. That guy's an animal. He's a beast. I think Steve Spagnuolo does a great job of putting him in different positions to go out there and be successful and to be a tyrant to opposing teams' quarterbacks. I mean, he'll line up anywhere. He'll stand up if need be. You know what I'm saying? It's like the guy is a force multiplier, man, and we got to be prepared to put him in some situations where he has to think a little bit and not play just totally off instinct. Put him in some precarious situations and allow him to kind of get lost in the shuffle, and a little bit how some teams do, like that Michael Parsons situation, but it's kind of difficult because he's a DT, but to find a way to run at him at a certain angle and kind of have these guys to kind of double team him if they can and execute far as running inside zone if you can, to kind of just let him know I'm not afraid to run at you. You know what I'm saying? And put him on his butt a couple of times. And other than that, if we have the time, because we know Brock is a timing quarterback, make sure that the first couple of possessions when he's throwing that ball, a lot of times over the last couple of games, teams have been getting their hands up and tipping that ball or knocking it down. I think we need to be aware of that, because we've seen it where they don't necessarily catch the interception, but it does put us in third and long sometimes, and then we may have to punt the ball early. And especially if on first downs, we maybe throw the ball early, and then you're in second and long, and then we have to punt the ball. So you want to make sure you establish that running game. And yeah, man. So long as we do that, I think the other guys, they got a really good cornerbacks, man. I think they got some really good cornerbacks. Like, them boys are beasts. I think Crock can speak on that even more. Like, I don't think people understand how good those two guys are. And I do believe we can get them. But at the same time, I think George Kittle can eat, though. I think Kittle can go out there and eat. And I also believe Kyle Juszczyk. I love the fact that he caught two passes not in the flats last week. I mean, those passes that he caught were like very big passes and dynamic as well. And his ability to be a pass catcher coming out that backfield as a fullback, he can finally be utilized as a weapon X2 as well. And I don't think people would be prepared for him.
Yeah, Croc, what do you think of their corners versus Lenore and Ward? Like, who's got the better corners? They do?
I mean, I don't know. Ward was an all-pro. Lenore, really good as well. I think if he probably should have or could have been in the conversation for all-pro as a nickel guy. Obviously, Kansas City, they have some good guys on that other side of the ball. But to me, it don't even come down to the cornerbacks, right? Like, if you think about Kyle Shanahan in this scheme, they will take a shot here and there if they can get a corner, in the corner in a vulnerable position. But the 49ers under Kyle Shanahan have not been a team to just pick on a corner. Like, all right, we got this receiver, and we're just going to continue to attack this cornerback with this receiver. He hasn't done that. Like, he runs his scheme. So regardless of who your cornerbacks are against the 49ers, they're almost kind of neutralized because everything that Kyle does runs off a scheme as opposed to one player.
Right. Right. That makes sense. Let me ask. James Welsh has a question. Let's talk about what Purdy must do. But James Welsh kind of leads us into it. Says, what if Purdy plays as well as he can, runs the system perfectly, and it just ends up that the superstar quarterback wins with sheer superior talent, and we're proven once again that Kyle, you do need one. Y'all want to take that one?
Even if now, this is my 2 cents. Even though if they feel like you have the superior quarterback in Pat Mahomes, I think there's enough guys around Brock Purdy to still be successful. Like again, I mean, George Kittle, Brandon Ayuk, Debo Samuel, CMC, Kyle's Juszczyk. I think you have enough guys to kind of output what it is that Patrick Mahomes can do. And I think what Crocky said earlier, I mean, you should be able to keep up with scoring with those guys because you have enough people to go out there and make plays. Or even in that scheme, it's not like they can focus on one person because Kyle does do a wonderful job letting everybody eat. You know what I mean? So with that being said, I still think we have enough talent. It's not like that Patrick Mahomes has, you know, three wide receivers that you really got to worry about. You know what I mean? He has one guy who's decent. And so with that, I think you kind of knock some of his superpowers down because now some of the guys that's on the edges are normal people. You know what I mean? And so that being said, I think if we play it out full potential and they play at their full potential, I believe there's enough on the offensive end for the 49ers to still get this victory.
Yeah, if you look at even just the 49ers production with their pass catchers, all right, so I'm going to pull up the Detroit Lion game, and we're going to talk about just the receivers' numbers, all right, and we'll talk about kind of how they get to those numbers. So Brandon Ayuk had 68 yards, but 3 receptions. Now, he had 8 targets in different ways, and they weren't able to be consistent connecting, but 3 catches for Ayuk in that game. The guys on the outside don't have to be the most impactful, just beating a guy one-on-one. I think when the shots are there and the plays are there, then Kyle will take those shots, but it's not going to be predicated on just, all right, we got Ayuk against this corner. Let's throw him 12 targets in this game. It just won't be that. It's really more so about, all right, the linebacker, we're going to show play action. I know he's going to come down and do this. And I know in this situation, and then that's going to make it to where we have the corner on the backside and, just cross his face at this landmark. And then Purdy, just get the ball out your hands with the timing, and it should be right there. There should be a little window and a run after catch opportunity. It's more about that as opposed to, let's say, like Cowboys. They're going to move CeeDee Lamb around, put him in the slot, put him outside, motion him to a tight split, get him free releases, and then work him that way. So like a CB1 against the Cowboys might be more beneficial, or like having a really good corner on the other side might help you more as opposed to the 49ers. So again, they'll kind of neutralize the good cornerbacks that Kansas City has.
Let me ask you this. This is going to sound crazy. It is, right? But if Brock goes out here and wins this Super Bowl, Brock Purdy, I'm looking at their stats, Brock Purdy versus Patrick Mahomes this year. And obviously stats only tell you so much. But Brock is leading in every statistic over Patrick Mahomes this year. Everyone. Record, completion percentage, passing yards average, passing yards per game, passing touchdowns, interception, passer rate, all better than Patrick Mahomes. If this guy Brock Purdy goes out here and balls, plays better than Patrick Mahomes, wins a Super Bowl, I mean, what does that mean? Are we sleeping a little bit on Brock? Like if he goes out there and does that, does that mean we were all sleeping on Brock and he's actually is elite?
I think it means that he had a better season than Patrick Mahomes.
That's it. Yeah. I thought I'd throw it out there and see if you take the bait, but I'm just curious. Yeah, so in no way possible. If Brock balls the hell out, right, and they win this game, and Brock plays great, his statistics are great, they win the Super Bowl. I mean, is it valid to ask if we're sleeping a little bit on Brock Purdy, or do you think it's just team?
I don't think anybody's sleeping on Brock. I think that there are, okay, hold on. I think there's levels to it, right? I see somebody in the chat that says Brock is overrated. That's probably just a troll, right? Like when I hear people say things like that, oh, overrated or this and that, then it's like, it's clear you just haven't watched Brock Purdy play. I think he does a lot of things extremely well. I think being an elite, you have to do things over a little bit more of an extended period of time to be like that elite quarterback. So, Brock, I think he's done a great job in the year and a half that he has played so far. And I would say that, man, he does this for another 2 years, then you are going to say that he's in that elite category. Now, to be, a Patrick Mahomes, again, we are talking about this as being a down year for Mahomes, and he's in the Super Bowl. You know what I'm saying? Like, this is a down year statistically. In the years where we're talking about, the elite, right? And again, he's been elite when it matters most this year, but 50 touchdown seasons, going crazy, down against the vaunted 49ers defense in the Super Bowl. Like, there's levels to get to that for Brock. And I don't think anybody's saying he can't, but I think right now he's trending in the right direction for whatever is next in the sense of a tier for him.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I shout out to Chiefs fan in the building. Frisco Bum Show, Mo saying F Clown. He said easy repeat for the Chiefs. I don't know, man. We'll see about that, brother. I will see, man. Damon says we have the better team, can't beat ourselves. Like I hear we have the better team a lot, and I think we do have, better roster, but they do have a really good defense. Their defense is better than us in a lot of ways. And they have Patrick Mahomes, and they got Andy Reid, and they got guys like Travis Kelce. And although this one's for you, Frisco Bum, I actually think Kittle could be just as good as Kelce if he was on the Chiefs, if not better. I'm gonna keep it a buck. If Kyle used Kittle like Andy Reid uses Kelce, I think Kittle would be going off. Kittle had more yards this year with a lot less touches. But overall, man, I think that the teams are even. I think it's going to come down to coaching, man. I think it's going to come down to coaching and the D-line for the 49ers. I think that's what it's going to come down to. But, yeah, thanks for the super chat, man. All right, let me get your take on this, man. I'm going to try to pry one of these out of you. I need some hot takes, man. I don't know if you guys are good, if you're cool sharing a hot take, but I want to get a hot take for this Super Bowl. And I'm going to ask you for your prediction for the game as well. But either one of you guys got a hot take for this Super Bowl.
Go ahead, twin.
Will we be in the right mood?
Yeah.
We, you know what I'm saying? Hot take, man. This game might rely on our third round draft pick, man. I mean, our third round draft pick and Moody. You know what I'm saying? They got a hell of a kicker over there. The dude, he got a foot. You know what I mean? The hot take could be, man, this game could go down to our kicker being excellent. You know what I mean? And him out here exercising some demons in the most pressurized situation. And though he may give us all little heart palpitations and things like that, he might come through in the clutch for us. So our hot take is maybe the true Ricky takes us home, which is Moody. You know what I'm saying? And be like, hey, we all was out there holding our breath, but then he came through in the clutch, and then he pulled up his shirt. He got that Michigan M underneath there. He was like, yeah, it's the year of the Wolverines. You know what I'm saying? We like, hey, okay, it's the year of the Wolverines, and we all go turn up and we party. You know what I'm saying?
Who's the MVP, twin? Before I get Croc's hot take, who's the MVP of this game?
The MVP of this game. My mind say Kittle, man.
Kittle.
That's the first person that came to my mind. I just saw his image looking at that stadium saying, I'm going to get back here. I don't know why I just see the image right there in my head right now, but that's the first thing popping in my mind is that image, so I'm going to say Kittle.
If you think Kittle's going to be the MVP, then it's probably going to be Brock because they're going to give it to the guy that was feeding Kittle. Me, I think it's going to be Christian McCaffrey. I think he's going to have an excellent game, a big game. I think a lot of people have said that he has probably been the 49ers MVP throughout, really his tenure with the 49ers. And I think we've seen a drastically different team, not just since Brock has taken over, but really since McCaffrey has started for the 49ers. He just breaks teams down in so many different elements. He's a warrior. Doesn't want to come off the field at all. I think we complain a lot about the other guys getting touches, right, with Mason and Mitchell. And why aren't they getting more touches? Well, it's because McCaffrey refuses to come off the field. He affects the game in so many different ways. I think when it comes to game planning, he's the first guy that teams look for. Like, all right, how do we contain 22. Okay, they like to run this or they like to throw him this way. And if he motions out this way, then this is what we're expecting. I think a lot of their game planning is surrounded by him. So I think a huge game is going to happen for CMC. And if I just had to pick one MVP for 49ers, it'd be him.
Yeah, that'd be my pick for MVP as well. It's either gonna be Brock or CMC probably, and I'm leaning CMC. But if somebody's a MVP on the defense, Croc, who would that be?
Oh man, I think it would be and a lot of times for the defensive MVP in the Super Bowl, it's kind of the person people aren't really thinking about.
Mm-hmm.
And I would say Tayshaun Gibson. Like
Yeah.
Gibson just comes up with multiple interceptions that really change the dynamic of the game. This is a guy that has been a ball hawk his entire career, over 35 interceptions in his career. I don't think people talk about that enough. Yeah. He's that savvy veteran that the 49ers have, and he's not the purest of cover guys, but he is a 100% playmaker. So I think maybe being able to trick a Mahomes once or twice in this game, getting those turnovers that really kind of seal the game. If it's somebody from defense, I would say it's Tayshaun Gibson.
Yeah, I could see that, man. He's been solid all year. That forced fumble in the Lions game was extremely underrated play to help them win that game. You got a hot take for us, man? I'm trying to get one out of you. I don't know if you got one, but I'm trying to see if I can get one.
Hot take. I'd say a hot take would be, and again, I think these guys are going to play well. I think 49ers playing against a really good defense. I'd say Purdy turned the ball over twice, and the 49ers still win.
Damn. Yeah, that would be rare. I don't think that hasn't happened all year.
Right, and it could be like a interception and a fumble or two fumbles or two pick, whatever. But they do that, and the 49ers are still able to overcome that and pull out a victory. Like I feel like 49ers are going to win this game, and it's going to be ugly. I think it come down to being an ugly kind of win. Brock's going to do enough at the end. He's going to help 49ers pull out the victory. But I think 2 turnovers and the 49ers still figure out like, we're better than this team. Like, let's go win this game.
Here's my hot take, man. I feel like Moody puts us over. I'll give you guys my score prediction in a minute, but I feel like Moody kicks the field goal that puts us over the Chiefs, right? We're down by 1. Moody kicks it. Now we're up by 2. That's my prediction. But Patrick Mahomes gets a minute and a half on the clock, and the 49ers defense stops him. That's my hot take. That's how I see it going down. Let me see the predictions from you guys, man.
Hey, real quick, I don't even want a minute and a half. Hopefully we have less. Look, I saw this dude go down in 13 seconds. You know what I'm saying? Hey, let's not lead to the defense that stop this guy with a minute and a half left, please.
I feel like it's gonna happen, man. It feels like he's always in those positions, right? He always gets an opportunity to win the game, and it's scary when he's in those situations. But I feel like defense might step up, man. Maybe Chase Young steps up and gets a sack on Patrick Mahomes to ice the game. How nice would that be?
Why you trying to tear all our little hearts up, man, boy? You trying to, it's already been tough the last couple of weeks, man. We're going to be over here clinching everybody, you know what I'm saying? We like, you know what I'm saying? He going to say, look, a minute and a half. I thought he would say, 37 seconds. My man said a minute. How many timeouts he have, man?
They got 2 timeouts, minute and a half.
Oh, man.
Bro, timeout.
Yeah. Defense got to stop them. They pull it off, man. It could be a Bosa game too, man. If Bosa can get at Patrick Mahomes, he got 2 sacks last week. If you can get 3 this week, that's gonna be big as well. All right, I'm gonna go ahead.
I was having like a 1994 Super Bowl. You know what I'm saying? Listen here, win the
smash everybody. Yeah,
look, give me a break this year. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah. I don't think it's gonna happen. But that would be great. Would you prefer? Let me ask you this before we get into the prediction. Would you prefer that, Croc, just an ass whooping, or would you prefer a close game?
I prefer a win, regardless of how they have to get it. But I always tell people, I love football.
Yeah,
and I do enjoy watching really good games, as heartbreaking as it can be, or as great as it can be for you. So if you told me the 49ers are going to win, and I get to pick how they win, I would say, give me the close game. Like, give me the one that comes down to the wire, because that's what really gets my juices flowing. But I would not mind the blowout, that 94 Super Bowl win. They just dog a team. Like, I'll take that. Cool, let's go. But those close games are fun. I think the close games also set up storylines moving forward. There will be a big Brock Purdy versus Mahomes, and maybe we see that for years to come. But I wouldn't mind either one.
That would be wild if there becomes a Purdy versus Mahomes. Man, isn't that crazy? It's why it is really wild, man, what's happened with this 49ers team and with Brock Purdy. Like when you think about his story, if he's able to win the Super Bowl this year, that's some crazy, crazy shit. Like,
Hey, I'm looking at chat. Everybody's like, hell no, beat their ass. And I get it. But I get bored with blowouts. Like, you watch and it's just like
But
it's just
Brock, I think they speaking from the perspective of having Jimmy G, the hospital throws.
well, but we're saying we're guaranteed to win. Like you're telling me
like,
you're guaranteed to win.
if you're guaranteed, okay,
Give me the close game because those are fun. Like those are exciting. Those get everybody going. It gives the blowout wins. Yeah, they're cool. But I mean, the 49ers blew up Dallas Cowboys, right? And it was like, yeah, we beating y'all ass. And then by halftime, it's just like, all right, I'm over this. Like, like, okay, they just beat them.
Yeah, I'm just talking shit on Twitter about like.
Yeah, I gotta find different angles to talk trash because when it's a blowout like that. But you have that close win, Super Bowl, you pull it out, man. Like I feel like even like the legend of Brock Purdy in that moment, right? Like it grows more. Yeah. If the 49ers, let's say, okay, for everybody, and you got the Brock Purdy whole thing. If it's a blowout, I don't think he'll get as much credit for it as opposed to if it's a close game. Yeah. And he figures it out. If it's a blowout, they're going to say, oh, well, his team, his players, well, of course they blew him out. They got Kittle and CMC and Debo and all these all-pros and Ayuk and Trent. And then, oh, look what Nick Bosa did. He had 3 sacks and 1 forced fumble, and they returned 1 to the crib and Gibson with a pick. And they're going to say it's everybody else but Purdy. But when you have that close game, and it's undeniable what Purdy did in that moment, that's what's going to continue to kind of build the legend of Mr. Irrelevant.
I mean, you ain't lying, but at this point right now, boy, it's been a long time coming, boy. Hey, it definitely would be one of those things because, like you said, the story would be so grandiose. Like you said, I mean, people are already probably writing the script right now. It will extend the movie, and you'll pick up off on what Jared York was talking about, I think last Friday or last Thursday at that press conference. All that would be even more magnified, like you said. I mean, again, as long as you can draw it out, if you guarantee me the W, that's fine. It's like watching. I don't know if you got kids. All y'all got kids, so sometimes you got to go to a game. You can't watch the game live, but you may get word that you won a nail biter, so you can watch it. Feeling okay because you know the results already.
Yeah. Listen, I told y'all, we had a 7-on-7 tournament. We're out in Vegas, right? And we get to the elimination rounds. First round, we play premium. They're out of LA, big dogs, powerhouse, man. And we dog them. I mean, final score was like 38 or 40-6 or something like that. Like we just destroy them. And it got to a point where it was just like, all right, now the next game we played against the pink, what were they called? Anyways, they wear all this pink. They're out of Utah. A lot of little white dudes, and they are nice. Like, they're nice. And it gets down. The time is running out. Boom, we score a touchdown. All we got to do is go for the 1. If you could choose to go from a 1 from the 5 or a 2 from the 10. And you go for a 1 and we tie. My best friend, my bro, he looks at me, go for 1 or 2. And go win the game, man. Go win the game. So we go for 2. Boom, we get it. And if you look at the crowd, you look at the fans, you look at the parents, the kids, everybody like turn up. You know what I'm saying? And it's just those moments. Again, it's not guaranteed, but those moments, man, feel so good. Like you know what I'm saying? It feels so good. Yeah. So I just love that. I love that feeling. I would love a blowout, y'all. I would love a blowout. Cool, let's do it. Rock out, blow it out. But for me, there's just something about watching like good football games that come down to the end.
Yeah. Hey, question for both of y'all real fast. Do y'all believe Kyle will have one of those moments where he bring out one of them plays, where he like, hey, he go risk it all a little bit and do one of them like, okay, Kyle, you going for the gusto?
I hope not, man. I don't like getting too cute in the Super Bowl, man. Like the trick plays. I don't know, man. That's me. If it works, great. But if you go out there and do a trick play and it shit don't work, you look ridiculous in the Super Bowl, man. Like, stick to what works. I want to get your take on this one. This is a good point. He says, how are we overlooking Debo? He's the ultimate mismatch in this game. To me, Debo and CMC combo, give her Debo MVP. I think if it's not CMC. I got CMC first, then Brock. If it's not those two, I think Debo would be my third choice for MVP. What do you guys think?
Now, Debo can definitely be MVP. And, I talked about George Kittle, right? He had said George Kittle. I think when it comes down to Kittle, it's like, it might be more predicated on Brock. Like, if Kittle is going to be MVP, it's probably going to be because of Brock, so Brock will get it. But with Debo, it don't got to be Brock, right? It could be Debo catching a 3-yard, slant and taking it to the crib. It could be him taking a screen 80 yards. It could be him, catching 5 passes at the line of scrimmage and getting yards after catch. Watch the last game. I mean, how many passes last game did he catch that were at or around the line of scrimmage? And he had one on that deep over. And, he can be impactful in so many different ways that I don't think is predicated on whoever the quarterback is for him to be super productive and potentially an MVP of the Super Bowl.
Yeah, I feel like Debo is going to run hella hard. He always runs hard, but in this game, it's going to be something to watch. I do think CMC pulls off the MVP with 3 touchdowns and 100+ yards rushing. I can see that. He almost had 3 last week if he didn't need a break because he got dropped on his head and Mitchell had to come in. Mitchell got that touchdown. But if he didn't get dropped on his head right there, he probably would have got 3 last game. So I think CMC, if I'm betting the house on it, CMC, 3 touchdowns, MVP. That's what I got. We got some super chats coming in. GTC says, for me, Kittle wins MVP. He's the key to the win. Shout out Twin and Law and Croc. And Pinelli missed that QB breaking down. Bring it back, Big Croc. He wants you to bring back Greg Pinelli, brother. Yeah.
I gotta bring my dog Greg back, man. We've talked about it. I think when I get into my new home, I'll have a legit streaming studio, and I'll start to do a lot more than I currently do right now. So that'll be something that we really work on grinding out and making sure it's done right throughout this offseason.
He said you fired him on Twitter.
He likes to say that. He's funny. If you guys know Greg in person, man, dude's he's an asshole in a good way. Funny, one of the funniest dudes I've been around. Straight shooter, and that's my guy. We go back, 14, 15 years now. So to junior college, he was my junior college quarterback.
Yeah, I like Greg a lot, man. He's hella cool. So I'm looking.
Let me address one thing with Greg. Can I see that dude in the chat? He says Greg was a Jimmy guy. Greg was not a Jimmy guy. Greg just appreciated the way that Jimmy did certain things, and he felt like other people didn't appreciate those things enough. Yeah. So it wasn't that, oh man, like this guy would take Jimmy over all these other quarterbacks if he had the chance. Like, hell no. But he felt like there were underrated things that Jimmy did consistently that the fans kind of brushed off. Or maybe he got the blame on certain things when he's looking at certain things from a schematic standpoint that didn't quite make sense to him. Or a lazy route running from Deebo Samuel that is like, hey, Deebo's supposed to break this route off here and flatten it off and work back downhill. He's drifting upfield and the safety's able to undercut it and intercept it. And everybody blames Jimmy. But no, that's on Deebo. Right. So there was just like little things like that where he would come to Jimmy's defense a little bit and he got labeled a Jimmy apologist. But if you know Greg for real, he don't give a damn about none of these dudes for real.
I think when you're a quarterback and a quarterback coach, you see things from the quarterback's perspective, how hard it is to play that position, and he probably sides on that, right? Like I think
that's the thing with Brock. Yeah. Like that's the entire who says, who has consistently been like, oh, Brock isn't an elite quarterback, right? It's the others, right? It's the other guys at positions. It's the Ryan Clark, Cam Newton, but typically like the Ryan Clark and those guys, right? Where it's just like, he's good, but then you look at the guys who have defended him the most, and it's the guys that actually play that position because they have a soft spot for just how difficult it is to play the position. So they value it more than some of the other people that have these expectations of what a quarterback should look like.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of like when you probably defend corners than most people, So it's the same thing, right? Like
exactly. Yeah. I always talk about how, oh man, just get your head around. Like, why he never? It's like, actually he does. Like, look, but sometimes if you get there late, your clock gets sped up, and then I have to explain it. And then I turn into it, So yeah, it's similar to that.
Yeah, Twin. It looks like GTC agrees, man. Kittle's going to be the MVP. That's how he's calling it with you. James Wells, hot take. We win a Super Bowl, and then this team slowly regresses, but at least we got ours. Twin, what do you think, man? Are we gonna win the Super Bowl and regress?
Hey, I think it was one time I was on the show with Croc. At this point, as long as we win one, man. Listen, I don't care how we win, as long as we get that dub, man. A little regression, hey, it happens sometimes. But to have the opportunity, man, to be doing a live with you guys or to celebrate, with my family and my kids, man, at this stage, with them winning, and to know how cool it would be with, like, the content creators and all the people we've met via the digital spaces, man. It would be so cool to kind of just really embrace them and be like, hey, man, we saw all this together, you know what I mean? And we have had the heartbreak too, so to know that from the Super Bowl we lost against the Ravens, and then the one that we lost, earlier against the Chiefs, and to get so close several times and to finally like break through, man, listen, I would be extremely happy, man, and a little regression, but we would eat off of this for a long time, because my trash talk for a lot of people, knowing that we got 6 now, and no longer stuck at 5. Oh, it's gonna be hard as hell to turn me down. That's all I'm gonna say.
As long as you don't gotta wait another 30 years
Yeah.
before,
Yeah. I feel
like come on, man.
I feel like this team is whatever they do this year, they can do it next year. After that, we'll see, because there's a lot of different contract situations gonna pop up and people retiring. Like this probably Gibson's last year. I know Trent said he'll give us another couple years, but then Brock's contract's gonna be BA's, and Debo's contract gets expensive after next year. BA's contract will be fine next year, but then after that it becomes a thing. Eric Armstead, like all these guys get kind of expensive. Kittle. So I really think this year, next year, they can make a run. After that, we're gonna be testing John Lynch and Kyle Shanahan's ability to replace some really good players that have been big players on this team for years. He's gonna have to start replacing them a couple years after this. So,
to be honest, man, I think all he's shown is that they have the ability to do that. That's all we've seen so far. It's who goes to a Super Bowl with 2 different quarterbacks in this short span of time. You know what I'm saying?
True.
They've done it with multiple, different running backs, right? You had like Raheem Mostert and those guys the first time. This time you got CMC. You had Debo Samuel the first year. Now you have Debo, but you also have Ayuk, and Ayuk is primed to really take over for the long haul. So I think if there's one thing that they've shown the ability to do, is to be able to get to this point in the season with pretty different rosters and different ways. I mean, look at the D line from the first year. Bosa, you have Armstead, but man, D4, Buckner, those were big parts of what they're doing. Quan Alexander as a linebacker there that year. And, so, okay, we let go of Quan, and okay, we got Greenlaw. And I think they'll continue to find guys, or at least all they've shown us is the ability that no matter what, we can build, as long as we don't have too crazy of injuries.
Yeah,
we got a roster that we'll continue plugging guys in and figuring out different ways to be this competitive team late in the postseason.
And
I think go ahead.
And just also the culture. Like, once you are able to win the Super Bowl, there's going to be some other guys who on their fringe level, far as being, superstar, or they're declining a little bit. They're going to look at that opportunity and say, hey, man, the bones of this team is still there. They're still good. And we can look like a team that somebody will say, hey, man, I want to play over there. I just seen how the guys lead that team, how they talk about them. You saw Al Shazier. He was there celebrating, You've seen guys who have left, gone to get big contracts, still come back over there and support those guys. And so that says something about the locker room and the culture that it does bring. And then other guys who may have been in bad situations, like, you know what? I might want to experience that, for a little bit in my career. You know what I mean? So I'll go over there to the Bay and see, can I have the opportunity, because the bones are still good, and go out there and possibly win the Super Bowl with those guys. And I think that will speak volumes if we're able to do so. The recruit, that win will recruit itself. You know what I'm saying? Bring guys over. Yeah. So, and I think that's we don't necessarily talk about sometimes.
Yeah, if they win the Super Bowl, I think that'll definitely attract a lot of free agents. But here's the other thing too that I was just thinking about is the 49ers O-line is not really good. So if they're able to develop that over this next year, like maybe through the draft or whatever, and they're able to build that offensive line, this team could actually be better moving forward. You got more experience from Brock Purdy. You got a better offensive line if they take care of that. I mean, you could actually see this team improve and become – and like Croc said, man, this team has – maybe they haven't shown that they can win a championship yet, but they have shown that they can put together a roster that's competitive essentially every year. So that part I am confident with. Damon says, hot take, Kyle will call a fake punt. Mitch Wishnowsky, game winner. Yeah, I could see it.
Hey, y'all remember? Hey, he took off early in this year, though. Hey, he had some burners out there. I said, okay, Mitch, I see you. Y'all remember that play?
Yeah,
I think he called his own number on that.
Yeah.
So will he have the balls to do that in the Super Bowl?
Yeah, we'll see. I don't know if Kyle will, but Mitch might. Mitch might say, "I don't fuck it, I'm gone." Marty Marr, 49 Empire. Do y'all think we will see Trent in motion? What do you think, Croc?
No. I think last time he got a little banged up trying to do all that. So
yeah, better protect him at this point. And then, how can the Niners stop Chris Jones given the weak interior O line? Y'all got an answer for that one? That's the challenge. I don't know how you do it.
Screens. offset any type of pass rush with screens. You know what? Let him go by our weak interior guys, and we get the ball out on the edge to Debo. So that's the way to try to slow up a guy like Chris Jones, who plays. I mean, they put him outside as well. He rushes from all over.
And he got to get this screens last week too. So you got to make sure. You got to change your arm. If you need to change your arm angle, do so, because he does have a good recall as far as diagnosing the play and can react quickly. So we want to make sure again. And I haven't seen a tight end screen in a while either, so again, I'm team screen all you want to, you know what I mean? And get some of these guys some easy catches. So.
Yeah, I think we can see it from both sides. All right, last question for y'all, man. Predictions. Twin, let me start with you, man. What's your prediction for this game? Give me a score and an outcome, man.
Hey, man, we get that W. I know that much. We get a dub piece. Prediction, man, honestly, it's still early. I'll say that we win close game all the way up to the third quarter, and then we break. You know what I'm saying? We kind of break it a little bit, and say, for instance, we win by 10. So whether that's 24, 34, you know what I'm saying? Like something like that. But at the end of the day, we get that W, you know what I'm saying? And we're gonna be smoking on some Zaza.
Croc, what's your prediction, man, for the game?
Yeah, I gotta say my predictions for a later episode this week on Locked On 49ers. Make sure y'all tune in. First of all, everybody, man, appreciate all the faithful out there. Locked On 49ers, and we look at the podcast rankings and top shows and all that. So we've been a top 15 sports podcast in the world for a little minute now, like a few weeks. But the one guy that we try to be over is Matt Mayoko. You know what I'm saying? Because Locked On, we're a smaller network. There's a lot of podcasts on the network, but Mayoko is a machine. He got the 49ers behind him. They got commercials. I be watching the CBS, or whatever it's called, and he got they're showing his podcast on TV. So he got a lot behind him. So for us, it's always like, okay, how can we be a little bit above Mayoko? So the last couple weeks, we've been above Mayoko. So that's been cool. Shout out to the faithful for everybody that listens to Locked On Pod.
That's good. That's dope. Congratulations. All right. Well, I won't pry it out of you. This is kind of early for a prediction for me, but I'm going with 23-21. 49ers are going to score 3 touchdowns. Moody's going to miss an extra point. They're going to be at 20. They're going to be down 21-20, but then Moody's going to kick a field goal and put them over the top. Then they're going to hold Patrick Mahomes on with a minute and a half left, 2 timeouts. Defense is going to stop them. 49ers win the Super Bowl. That's my prediction. We'll see how it goes down. Croc, when are you going live on your show next, man? When is your next show?
I'll be live. I'll be live tomorrow. Tomorrow morning, 8 a.m.
Tomorrow morning, 8 a.m. Make sure you guys are liked and subscribed to Croc's channel, Twin Empire. Go on YouTube, type in Twin Empire. Make sure you subscribe to Twin. Twin, when are you going live next, bro?
Man, I'm gonna try to go on this evening, man. I know there's some type of news gonna happen today, man, and just really take in. This is the last week of football, you know what I mean? And so it's bittersweet, you know what I'm saying? And so, man, it's just been cool enjoying the journey, far as the beginning of the year to now. And so I'll hop on there today, man. So y'all make sure you go to my channel, man. Hit the subscribe button, like, hit the notification bell as well, man, and I definitely appreciate it.
All right, y'all. I'm gonna be on with Grant. We usually go at 11 a.m. on Monday, but he's flying to Vegas, so I'm not sure, probably like 1-ish. So tune in. Then I'll be on tomorrow 9 a.m. with Jesse. I appreciate you guys, man. Thanks for the show. Good job, man.
Hey, Crock, hit me up, baby.
All right,
for
you guys.
sure.
Hey, I just realized next week we're gonna be running it back. Either talking about 49ers and win a Super Bowl or we lost. So
No. We'll be talking about 49ers winning the Super Bowl.
All right. Y'all tune
We
in
were
next
talking
week.
about how many shots you took. Man, dude, I was out here leaning with it, rocking with it.
All right, y'all. Talk to you guys later.